And Dennis, I think it's for you over there, by the way.
Okay.
I call to order this hearing meeting for Dennis Lummel. Would you like to take over, Coy?
So as a reminder of some of the rules and procedures that apply for this, this is a meeting of the Palmyra Safety Board. The members of the Safety Board, which by statute are members of the Town Board, will be the finders of fact, and they'll have to make a decision tonight whether or not to uphold the termination decision that was made for Dennis last month. I will be presenting the evidence in support of upholding that termination. Dennis will have the right to confront all that evidence, including any witnesses that are called tonight. Dennis will have the right to present any evidence as well, and then at the conclusion, anybody, either of us that want to make an argument, will be able to do that. The board, this is a formal proceeding. It's obviously being live streamed, being recorded. This isn't anything where public comment, if anybody's been following on the news, this is going to operate very similarly to the proceedings going on in Clark County with the officer over there who's having a merit board proceeding for towns that don't typically have merit boards for their marshals, so this procedure effectively operates the same way. So that's how it's going to go. The board has the right to decide any objections about evidence. The board has the right to ultimately make the findings and conclusions tonight and to maintain decorum throughout the course of the proceeding. With that being said, I had previously laid out a month ago when the board made the decision to terminate Dennis, the bases for that. I don't feel the need to make an opening. I will waive opening and defer to whether Dennis will just make an opening statement this time.
Okay, first off, I was not able to secure legal counsel for a variety of reasons. So I'm going to represent myself this evening.
Good for you, sir.
Say what?
Good for you, sir.
Okay. Now, the list of charges that was gave to me. Let's address number one here, November 30th. That was the traffic stop that Mr. Sims had made over here on the highway. He had stopped Mr. Lee Howell for speed, I believe it was. During the course of that stop, Mr. Howell refused to get out of the car initially. He did finally get out of the car. The whole time he was asking for me to come to the scene. Now, I received 2 phone calls. One from Ashley McFall, who was one of my reserves at the time. She was riding with Officer Holly. She called me, told me she wasn't certain what was going on, who the person was, but she asked if I could come to the scene. Yeah, I'll be there in a few minutes. I just happened to be in town going to recycle on my personal pickup in street clothes. I understand there's an issue about me responding to the scene in street clothes. Now, in my mind, and I'm certain a lot of other people's, did it make sense for me to drive 3.5 miles back home, change into a uniform, get in my patrol car, and drive back up to the scene? Or since I'm a minute away, drive on to the scene? Now, I get there, find out who it is. Mr. Sims go to me, talked to me, told me what was going on, what took place. He also admitted that he forgot to turn his body cam on until several minutes into that stop. Now, I went up and talked to Mr. Hobb. I've had dealings with him over the years, him, the whole family, I think, at some point in time. So we talked there for a minute. I decided he wasn't a threat. I told the guys to take the handcuffs off, give him his possessions back, and send him on down the road. I discovered later that Mr. Sims and Mr. Holly had a little powwow down at the Morgan School. Now, Ms. McFall was riding with Mr. Holly, and she wasn't privy to that conversation. So, what I want to know is, how was I negligent? How was I immoral? You know, I got 2 phone calls. I went and checked on my reserves. Since they fell under my supervision, I made the decision to let Mr. Hogg go. If there's any issues later, they could have filed for an arrest warrant later on. They could have ticketed later on. Now, it's about 20 degrees out that night. It was cold. So, went on down the road with that. I asked, how was I negligent? What was immoral? What is conduct unbecoming? No answer? Wonderful. Now, November 24th, Officer Sims conducted another traffic stop. In this case, he observed a unwrapped syringe in the car. He had both occupants of that car exit. At the same time, somewhere in there, he asked for Captain Sean Short to respond to the scene. Sean was out that night patrolling with him. I might also add that Officer Sims had not been turned loose of solo patrol. He was in a car by himself, and the other officers were supposed to be shadowing him, making certain he'd done things correctly. Now, we've also, Officer Nicholas Herod responded to that scene also. During the course of them searching the car, the occupants were handcuffed. There was drug paraphernalia found. Part of that being a crystal-like substance that's supposedly field tested for meth. I don't know where the field test packet went, because typically those packets, when you do a field test, are put with that evidence. So I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if Officer Herod kept or just what happened to it. Officer Herod asked him about reading Miranda rights to the occupants of that car. They didn't do so. Could be considered a violation of their Fourth Amendment rights. Officer Sims asked Captain Short to take that evidence to the police office in the town hall and put it on my desk. That's always been the procedure. You get evidence, you call me, let me know it's there, put it on my desk. My office door is always locked when I'm not there. So as soon as that old stuff is there, I get down there, I get it, put it in the safe. Which up until just recently, that safe only had one person to do the combination. Now, Captain Short, instead of putting the evidence on my desk where it would be claimed to, by the way, there's a camera on my desk. At that time, I was able to monitor such things from home, basically from anywhere. Now, Captain Short put that evidence on top of the safe behind something else. It was probably a couple of days where I didn't know that was there. You know, I don't always go in and check see what's on top of the safe. If I know there's evidence there, it's usually typically on my desk. First thing I see when I walk in. Now, when I found it, it's in a plastic, clear plastic evidence bag, but there's no markings on it. Now, what Captain Short told me was he had sent me a text that there's evidence there. Apparently the text did not go through. Wanted to monitor electronics, sometimes they fail. Now, when I found the evidence and it's an unmarked bag, I start texting the reserve, hey, where'd this come from? I find out, okay, so I marked it. It was taken for destruction. So I marked it, put it in the safe. And again, I've got to ask, what was immoral? What was neglected duty? How was that negligent? Now, September 26th, 27th, the Palomar Powwow Family Fun Fest. At some point in time, they had all the reserves there. Now, two of the newer reserves actually had on this, it said police. They were not carrying weapons, they were not carrying tasers, anything like that. They were assigned to be walking with experienced officers. And apparently somebody didn't like the idea of them walking around with police emblems on, with no weapons or anything like that. It was brought to my attention, I asked them to take those cameras off. Now, there's also an issue there with, according to the charge for the September 26th, 27th, was I had adequate time to train these reserves. Now, when you have reserves who work Monday through Friday jobs, they may work 12-hour shifts somewhere. It's damn hard to get training done for them. It's either they have to do it of an evening or on weekends. I don't know how many times in my 13 years as town marshal, I'd get a phone call on Thursday or Friday afternoon saying, hey, we've got a pre-basic class starting Monday morning at 8 a.m. It's going to be Monday through Friday. Now, any of us that's worked full-time jobs over the years know that at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, you're going to be hard pressed to get somebody to cover your entire week. So adequate time, yeah, if they're full-time officers. And the fact that we did not have anybody certified on the department at that time to do pre-basic training. We always had to rely on outside agencies. Always had to rely on outside agencies. And then you're right there at their beck and call, basically. Now, also about standard operating procedures. We've been operating on operating procedures that were well over 15 years old. 15 years old. That's a long time for a set of operating procedures. Any of us who've been in public service any length of time know that you just don't sit down and write out a piece of paper and say, hey, this is our SOPs. You can't do it. Because I will guarantee you, things will change, you will miss things. Now, I've been working on a set for almost 2 years. It was a set that a previous town attorney had gave me from the town of Greenville. And going through there was a lot of stuff in there that would not pertain to Palomar Police Department at all. Some of them might 5 or 10 years from now, but not the current time. I also got a very generic set, and there needs a lot of work done on it. I finally turned what I had in. There we go. So what I'd like to know is, what set of standard operating procedures am I being told I'm negligent in following? 3 different sets there, folks. 3 sets. Now, in the notice of my rights, I have the right to a fair trial.
You get one here.
How can I get a fair trial when the town council, the safety board, wherever they are, they're the same ones who fired me?
Yes, sir.
So how can that board objectively conduct a trial?
They can't. Not being objective.
I have several questions. That was my answer to those charges, but I have several questions. What I would like to know When I got called into the office on December 2nd and asked about the traffic stop with Mr. Howell and such, Ms. Atkins had information that only a police officer would have been privy to. Who gave her that information? Who gave you that information? That look tells me everything. I already know who.
But won't they come?
Zach Sims. I'll guarantee it. That's all I've got.
Well, we know the verdict already.
This time I would call Zach Sims as a witness for this proceeding. You'll need to administer the oath to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I'll need to.
Technically, it'll need to be Deborah, since you potentially be with us.
Oh, my goodness.
You swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. Do you want to sit down?
Zach, go ahead and state your name for the record.
Zachary Sims,
And Zachary, where are you employed?
Highlander Fire Protection District,
And do you also serve in any part-time employment positions?
Scottsburg Fire Department.
Okay. And do you have a position related to the town of Palmyra?
I do.
And what's that position?
I'm a reserve police officer,
How long have you held that position?
approximately 7 months.
And what are your duties and responsibilities as a reserve officer for the town of Palmyra?
Seeing as I had not completed my entire FTO phase at that point, I was to conduct regular patrol.
Can you speak up a little bit?
And at the time, I had not completed all of my FTO phase, so not all of my training was complete. I was not a released officer. Therefore, my duties and responsibilities were to ride with other officers that were considered seasoned officers and learn from them and train, and again, conduct regular patrol with them.
And when you say FTO, again, just making sure, I know sometimes it's easy to fall into acronyms whenever we've got professional duties. What does FTO stand for?
Field training.
What does field training entail?
Generally, that would entail officers showing policies, procedures, kind of honing in the skills that you've been trained on prior to.
Do you have any prior law enforcement experience before serving as a reserve in Palmyra?
I do not.
What training have you been provided in your time as a reserve officer here in Palmyra?
I went through the 40-hour Indiana Law Enforcement Academy pre-basic course through the Harrison County Sheriff's Office. And then throughout my FTO phase, I rode with several officers that were reservists with the Palmyra Police Department, as well as the Harrison County Sheriff's Office.
In the course of completing your field training officer time, have you been authorized to participate and assist in traffic stops within the geographic boundaries of Palmyra?
Yes.
Are you authorized to assist in enforcing the laws and regulations of the town of Palmyra?
Yes.
Does that include assisting if there is believed to be a violation of traffic laws and ordinances?
Yes.
As part of your duties in enforcing those laws, are you required to draft reports for traffic stops?
I am.
Do you regularly draft those traffic reports following stops?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what that process looks like.
So we use a CAD system, it's a computer automated dispatch system. Within that, you'll have a reporting software where you'll add information that is privileged information to law enforcement. You'll get Indiana State B&B returns through dispatch. You'll attach those for not only the person, but the vehicle, registration, suspects, victims, suspect vehicles. And then you'll complete a narrative based on the events that occurred.
Once you have completed a report, are there any steps required for approval by a supervisor or anything like that?
Yes, so in Spillman, there's an option that you can change from report completed or case closed to request approval by supervisor.
Once you submit a report, what is the next step for handling that report in your capacity as a reserve officer?
They would go to the administration. In this case, it would be, at the time, Chief Dennis Lumble. And then if he had any questions to follow up, I would receive phone calls or have a meeting with him in regards to my report.
Now, I want to talk to you about a couple of the reports that you had filed and a couple of the incidents that you responded to. Actually, before I get into those two specific incidents, are you equipped, what type of equipment do you have as a reserve officer for monitoring?
So the issued equipment that I received was a body cam that rotates through the officers as they're on duty. We do not have individual body cams. I was instructed from day one to come to the town hall and sign out a badge to wear while I'm on duty. The rest of the equipment includes a ballistics vest, handcuffs, firearm. I was not TASER qualified, therefore I did not possess a TASER at the time. A radio for communication.
And when you talk about getting qualified for the TASER, what specific requirements would have needed to be met for you to become TASER qualified?
I would have to go through a certified TASER class based on the model of TASER that we had.
And is that something that had been set up for you in the 6 months that you had been deployed?
No.
Okay. Was there a period of time where you were not certified to carry a firearm as a reserve officer?
As a reserve officer, no.
Okay, so you were allowed to carry a firearm from day one.
Yes, I had completed my 40-hour pre-basic upon hire.
So the pre-basic that you completed through the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, that was the requirement to allow you to carry a firearm.
Correct.
So in other words, if an officer is not carrying a firearm, the only explanation for that would be that they have not completed that pre-basic training.
I would believe so, yes.
The body camera that you were utilizing whenever you were on duty, you indicated the town has one that is shared by the reserves as they're on duty, correct?
So there's several that a lot of the officers that have been on there for quite some time have on their personal equipment. But as I was in the shadowing phase of the field training, I was in my own vehicle, I was utilizing Captain Sean Short's body cam because I did not have a body cam issue.
Now, I've seen a lot of different models of body cam over the years. I know some of them require manual activation, some of them automatically activate when the equipment in your vehicle is activated. There's a number of different models. Can you describe for us, how does the body cam that you utilize activate?
So this particular body cam was an Axon body cam. It was the offline version of the Axon series. Like you said, there's several different models. Some automatically activate, some do not. This one was a manual activation. In order to activate that, you flip a switch on the top of it from the off to the on position, and then you double tap the center button, and then a halo light that is red comes on, and that'll indicate that it is recording.
And then does it record until you manually deactivate it at that point in time?
Yes, so long that it is charged and properly serviced.
I want to talk to you about a couple of your incident reports. And if I may approach the witness report. Zach, we've got two reports here together for you. The first one is from incident number 25P0476. And if you look down under the incident heading, it indicates a date of November 30th of 2025, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'll give you a chance just to review, and again, I don't want you to get into the details of it again. I'll ask you some questions about that in just a minute, but we'll take a look at those first couple of pages there and confirm for me that that is a true and accurate copy of the incident report that you prepared.
Yes.
And then behind that is a supplemental report related to incident number 25P0449 with an incident date of 11/24/2025. And if you would take a look at that and confirm to me that that is a true and accurate copy of the report prepared by yourself along with supplemental narrative from Gabrielle Roberts.
Yes.
And you were the responding officer for these two incidents in question.
Yes,
Okay, and you were on duty and acting as a reserve officer for the town of Palmyra at that point in time.
yes.
At this time, I would move to admit the report for incident number 25P0476 as Town Exhibit 1 and incident number 25P0449 as Town Exhibit 2.
Will you get to see it? Yeah, why don't everybody get one?
Apologies, that's actually a very fair point. I appreciate what I say. Because I apologize, I gave one to everybody but notice. So, let's start with incident 25P0476. Again, this is the incident dated November the 30th, 2025. Do you recall the involvements that led to you making that stop? First of all, the reports here and has been admitted as an exhibit, but who was the suspect that was involved at that point?
Ronald Howe.
You've got the report there to refresh your recollection if necessary, but I'd like you, as best you can from memory, what was the basis for you stopping Mr. Howell on that evening?
So I was traveling northbound on Highway 135, and I had a mobile radar in my vehicle that detected a vehicle traveling approximately 51 miles an hour, close to 35 mile an hour zone. So that was the probable cause for the stop.
Okay. And what type of vehicle did you observe and clock at that speed?
A red Dodge Durango.
Whenever you make a traffic stop, do you typically run the plates to determine ownership, registration, things like that?
Yes.
Did you submit that request? To run the
Yes,
plates?
I submitted that request to dispatch, yes.
And I assume that's typically submitted through Harrison County Dispatch?
Correct.
Okay. How long does it usually take Harrison County Dispatch to run a plate and get you back the registration details?
So generally, unless you ask for a return when you're initiating a traffic stop, they will not immediately give you a return. They will wait until you run a license or something of that nature, and they will give you both the return for the registered vehicle as well as the driver or whoever you ran.
Okay. Did you recall if you specifically asked for an immediate return on that one?
I did not.
Okay. So you pulled the vehicle over, you've identified it as a red Dodge Durango, you've submitted a request for registration to dispatch. What was the next step that you took?
At this point, I exited my vehicle and made a driver's side approach to speak with the driver.
Okay. And did the driver respond to you at that point in time?
I initiated the contact with him. At that point, he became very verbally aggressive and showed 3 fight indicators.
Now, were you equipped with your body cam at this point in time?
I was.
Did you activate the body cam as soon as you pulled the vehicle over?
No, I did not.
When you've indicated that he began to become a little bit more aggressive there, at what point in time did you determine it was appropriate to activate your body cam camera?
So at the point that he started requesting Chief Dennis Linville respond to the scene and stated that he was not going to identify himself to me, I returned to my patrol vehicle. And at that point, I reached down in my vest where my phone was located, pulled my phone out to make a phone call to the officer that was on duty, and I noticed that the light was not on for my body camera. That's when it was activated.
Okay, so I want to make sure we've got the scene laid out. You've pulled the vehicle over, you've gone up, you've asked the driver to answer some questions at that point in time. The driver's being non-responsive and aggressive, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You mentioned the driver demanding to see Marshal Limmel at that point in time. Was that, how soon after you initiated contact did that demand get made?
Within 30 seconds.
And so at that point in time, you returned to your vehicle, and that was when you realized you had not activated the body camera, and so you then activated the body camera.
Correct.
Was it active for the remainder of your involvement with that stop related to Mr. Hall?
Yes, it was.
Let's go ahead and pull up the video at this point in time.
Okay. Anybody want the lights dim?
That might be easier for the TV after we did the lights. Appreciate that.
No, wrong one. Lights.
All that.
Thirty-one three zero seven. Who's the registered owner of that 28 I gave? Call Zach. He just started towards running around the stage requesting limo because he doesn't believe I caught him at 53 and a 35. I do not. This one doesn't work properly. Nah, I tried to lock it. He won't use ID, the 12 across the do you want me to go and hold it? Okay, well, you're my supervisor, so I'm calling you. Okay. I'm good. I'm gonna go try and talk to him. All right. So my supervisor's on the way. Okay. All right. I need to see your license. I ain't got a license. Okay. I need to see your license. I can show it to you. I don't have to give it to you. I know the law. Okay. You're not going to dictate how this traffic stop goes. Okay. Wait, you I'm just get your name. Go and step out. I ain't got to. Go and step out. 304 step out. Here, hold your phone. Step out of the vehicle. So I can talk to you back here. Okay. Step out of the vehicle. Don't reach for it, okay? All right. We're going to be cool. I'm not cool. Keep your hands up. Turn around. Is that good? Turn around. Touch me like that. Turn around. Turn around. Grab me like that. Around. Get Dennis down. Turn around. Put your hands up on the car. Be pushing on me. Put your hands up. Get Dennis here now. Put your phone down. Just relax, okay? Touch me. Go ahead. He's got a gun in his back. I got a gun in my back pocket. I got a carry from it. Okay. Get Dennis here now. I want your person in charge here. Okay.
Well, we're going to take it until it gets here.
Let me see this hand. Okay. I need to go. I will have your job.
Okay.
I know Dennis very well. Okay. Relax this wrist. Get this one fun. You got to touch me, goddammit. Relax that wrist. Okay. 313071 thing. Turn around. Where's it at? Right there. Give it to my wife. Do you have any other weapons on? There's a 40 in the car somewhere and a 9. All right. Now, You want to start over for a second?
No, I know my laws. I know what I'm doing.
All right, just so you know.
40 and a 35 is not against the law. That's what that speedometer says. Did I hit the brakes? No.
All right. So,
Let's look at your dash cam, see if I hit my brakes.
1 mile an hour over the speed limit is technically against the law.
Technically, you're like 5. By
You're
state
not.
law.
No, you're
By state
not.
law, yes, it is.
Okay. Do you have any other weapons on you?
No.
I got you. 51 on the 35.
Right there.
All right. Any other weapons?
Do you want me to take my clothes off?
No, I don't. Turn around. I want you to face the vehicle.
Get your hat up here. I'm a grab
Do not pull anybody else up.
You can't do nothing.
Face the car. Do not.
You better get the fuck away from me. See you. I want that. Get in here.
Call Chief Lemon. Hey, you available?
Well, I'm on the way down here. I can actually,
That's me. I stopped the car here at 135 Ritter Way, and I would like for you to start if you can. This is requesting you. He had a gun in his back pocket, got out, started walking towards me. It's on body cam, so I turned him around against the vehicle and put him in handcuffs. What's your name? Chief Lemon's asking. Sorry? Lee Howe?
I'll be there.
All right, I've got Holly with me.
All right.
Yep. That's, you put 2 fingers in there?
From that motorcycle.
I did. Yep. It's actually on the way anyway.
I'm gonna take this off you. I ain't gonna give you a fair one. All right, be a little bit of an asshole on this one. In your hand, I'm gonna have an issue. All right. And I'm 450 pounds. You don't want me coming down on top of you. Ow, sorry. It's gonna hurt for a second.
How many dollars?
Man, you are awful.
It's my shoulders. That motorcycle wrecked the pond.
Fuck, it's okay. Can't see my fucking hole. Sorry, it's gonna hurt. Oh shit, it's up underneath the chin. All right. So this. Thank you. Something to block. You're good. I got it. Fortunately, the double locks on both sides of the fucking key thing. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll call
Say there's another weapon in the car.
Yeah, there's a 40 and a 9.
Where are they at?
One's in the center console, and one's beside my side.
Do what?
You run the 29 on the report. I'll tell you.
Sir. So Pop was for a 53. Sorry. I visually, at the time that I visually made contact with this was 51 and a 35. Come past my truck. Look around and let stop here. Immediately walked up in contact. This was still loading up. Okay, so you'll see immediately as I walk back to my register. He immediately says, "Hey, I will talk to you. I want you for him out here." So I was all 51. And he said that before I could explain to him how fast he was. Okay, so at that point, I walked back here, made the call to Holly, said, "Hey, okay, got it, still wouldn't cooperate because Holly got on scene." So I go ahead and step out there. So I detained him and figure out what's going on. He said, "I have a weapon in my back, I have a gun in my back pocket, so that's why I put him out of the vehicle." As I did that, he got out and said, "This is when he got turned around and put up against the vehicle." He turned around and proceeded to resist. So he got put in handcuffs, and the weapon was taken out.
Long time.
Okay. But he was doing, I would call it 51 and the 35 minutes back in 100% of testing.
Causing trouble. But I know for a fact I was going for it. I didn't hit the brakes. You know, if I was doing over that, I'd jab the brakes. That's anything. And then he came up, he was kind of smart ass at first. You know, I ain't gonna take smart ass. And he came up and said the same. I was calm, he was calm. So they got it. I got one in the car, two in the car, one hurt side to side.
Susan, fine.
We're gonna have to move forward again, Logan.
Oh, okay.
I have been babysitting. I've been trying to get you to around the house.
I went up to the ground.
Yeah. I found it hard to believe the odometer and the carbonate got off. Looks like you got factory size. If you was in your truck, I'd
RPM gauge I go off of.
guys, I'm gonna cut him loose. I'm not.
And I won't be able to apologize. It came out sideways. That's why I was the way I was, and I apologize for that. I shouldn't have done it.
Like I said, I've known these. Yeah. So you know, I'm a little bit too, but I get out here on accident or something, it's willing to help me do something.
And I apologize for that. I feel bad, but you can ask him. I've done it to him. He comes sideways. He was calm. To be honest with you, I'm glad he calmed me down.
So let me explain something to you now that you're a little bit calmer. All right. Once you said that you had the weapon in your back pocket, that's originally why I started getting out of the vehicle, because there's a weapon involved. You got to see it from our point of view too, right?
But you got to come. I told you I had it. If I was going to use it, I would have told you.
Correct. Was your wallet in your back pocket?
No.
Okay. Was anything else in your back pocket?
Just the sleeve.
Okay. So I pulled you out. I had you turn around. I wasn't going to put you in handcuffs. Y'all want to grab the gun out of you. Okay, that's it. And then you got out, put your arms up, and came up right when you got out. So that's why you got the
I get it.
okay.
But you got to think where I'm coming from. It feels like you're being a dick and using your power against me, grabbing me and slamming me like that.
So there's a little bit of case law but also
Yeah.
So.
But you got to get where I'm coming from. You can say, hey, I want to turn around, I want to take the gun out of your back pocket, right? Instead of grabbing somebody like that and slamming them in the car.
Let's be honest.
I did come out sideways.
That's why you got the
Because the way he started out first. It's all up to me. And I'm sorry.
Are we clear where everybody stands?
We're good.
Okay.
Sorry about this.
Take care.
Okay.
It should be in the hood of his vehicle, correct?
Don't worry about it.
All right. Is there anybody in the backseat of the vehicle?
That's fine.
All right. I'm gonna set this unloaded in the backseat of the vehicle. Okay. Bullet, magazine, gun, back there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Take care, man. I'll see you later. See you. Bye.
Officer Sims, did the video that we just watched accurately convey what happened on the night in question?
Yes.
Is there anything not reflected in that video that you wish to add to your account of what happened that night?
When the body cam was not running, while I was in my vehicle, dispatch did give me the return, at which point it came back to, if I recall correctly, it was a older model GMC Yukon, which did not match the vehicle that I had stopped. So when you hear me ask Mr. Howe for his registration, it was to confirm that was the vehicle. At which point I would have been conducting an investigation to try and figure out whether or not that vehicle was false and fake.
So
I didn't get the chance to do that. I didn't get a chance to run the VIN number or anything of that nature because Mr. Howe was released.
Alright, so, following this, stop, did you consider potentially filing your own, probable cause affidavit against Mr. Hall related to this incident?
I did.
Tell me a little bit about that process.
So I completed the report within Spillman and give you an option to submit requests for an arrest warrant. I'm not exactly sure on the timeline of that. I believe you have within 365 days to submit for one for a misdemeanor charge. Due to the circumstances, due to the personal relationship between Mr. Howe and Chief Lowell at the time, I had contacted Mr. Lowell. We had had a conversation about that, and I was advised to hold off on that. We may go that route depending on what goes on.
So to be clear, it was your belief, even after Mr. Howe was released, that it would have been appropriate to file a request to go ahead and put in a warrant for him related to what happened that evening?
Yes.
And you discussed this with Marshal Limmel, and he advised you not to do so.
He recommended that I do not.
Let's go ahead and move on to the incident on November the 24th. And again, you had a chance to review the summary that you drafted in your report for that evening.
I have not had a chance to.
Okay, when you get home, if you'll just let me know once you've reviewed your summary for that. Okay. And do you recall the stop that's at issue in that report?
I do.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the circumstances that led to that stop.
So due to the reporting circumstances, this evidence was marked for destruction. There was no charges filed against either one of the individuals in this vehicle. Therefore, the report is not nearly as detailed. It is simply to log that there was evidence seized versus any kind of probable cause, arrest warrant or an arrest report or anything like that. So there's a lot of information that is not in that report as it directly relates to the evidence. The reason for the stop was speed. Again, it's very well known. We have a 35-mile-an-hour zone through Palmyra. This vehicle was roughly 15 miles an hour over that posted speed limit. They were stopped. They took an abnormally long time to stop and pulled to the right-hand side of the road. When I made contact and ran the driver, that individual came back suspended. I had observed a cap syringe in the center console. Knowing that alone is not probable cause for a search, I continued my investigation by having the driver exit the vehicle, come to the back of the vehicle and speak with me, in which case I asked her if she had any kind of medical reason for a syringe or anything like that. She said no. I could be mistaken, but I believe she even said there might not, or there shouldn't be a syringe in there. Officer Holly at that time was the assisting officer on that. He was shadowing me. He was my active supervisor. Captain Sean Short was not on duty that evening. It was me, Zach Holly, and Kyle Lewis, who was another reserve, who was in the car with Zach Holly. When I was speaking with the female driver, the male passenger was requested to exit the vehicle by Officer Holly. At this point, Officer Holly and I had not had time to communicate that there was a syringe in the center console. So he was not on the same page as I was. I was attempting to investigate I had a reasonable suspicion at that point. I was attempting to gain probable cause for a search for narcotics. At that point, Holly had the passenger exit the vehicle, and when he did so, he placed him in handcuffs and detained him and verbally explained to him that it was because there was a syringe in the center console. So at that point, I was set back a little bit. It kind of backed me up a little bit on the investigation because at this point, both now the driver and the passenger know for a fact, without a doubt, there is a syringe in the center console, and that we observed that. So that kind of changes their responses to certain questions. I'd asked both of them whether or not they had any medical reason for a syringe. They said no. I had originally gotten consent to search, and they redacted that consent to search. I read them purple. And as soon as I opened the car door on the passenger side with that search, because I felt as though I had articulatable reason to search that vehicle at that point based on behaviors, I noticed a crystal-like substance in the seat, which then gave me probable cause through my training experience to believe that was methamphetamine. And so then at that point, we conducted a probable cause search, found the methamphetamine. Deputy Nick Herod was assisting at that point in time. He field tested all of the residue that we found and the paraphernalia that we found. He field tested positive for methamphetamine. At that point, Herod had asked what probable cause we had, what the reason for the stop was. He was kind of getting briefed on the reason for the stop and what had transpired. At that point in time, when I had opened the passenger side door, I asked Holly to Mirandize both the driver and the passenger, which he did. Through conversation with Nick Herod, I had quickly realized that maybe through my training or lack thereof training, that I had Mirandized a little bit too late and could not articulate said probable cause under Miranda. So at that point, there are two options. I could have released the driver and the passenger and filed for an arrest warrant based on the narcotics that were found. Or I could take that as a training opportunity, seize that evidence for destruction because we can't give narcotics back to somebody. They're an illicit substance. And then go on and do some refresher and some training and figure out what to do better the next time.
So is that ultimately what you opt to do in that circumstance?
Yes, actually in the dispatch log, you can see where I requested a tow truck because our original intention was to tow said vehicle, do a search, incident to arrest, do an inventory search, and I canceled the tow truck because after a full-time tier 1 officer had spoke with me who has an extensive experience and knowledge in narcotics, explained to me that it would be better to do some training on this and maybe let this one go, destroy the evidence or mark it for destruction and let them go.
So when you talk about marking evidence for destruction, procedurally, what is the process for marshals and reserves in Palmyra for seizing evidence, marking for destruction, and securing it safely?
So at that point, I've been told that our standard operating procedures for marking evidence for destruction was to leave the evidence that was found in an evidence baggie or an evidence bag of some sort on the chief's desk, and he would destroy it, either mark that for destruction or put it in the safe for long-term evidence tracking.
Okay. And who was responsible for exfiltrating that evidence from the site where it was collected back to the chief?
Captain Sean Short was responsible for doing that because he was the supervising officer. He was the captain at that.
Following seeing that evidence there on site at the stop, did you have any further involvement with that seized evidence?
I did not.
Let's move on now to powwow. Did you have any involvement in powwow in 2024?
I did.
What was your involvement?
That is one of our 2 mandatory events that we are requested to be in attendance for Palmyra Police Department, to show a police presence and assist with parking and traffic control along with the Harris County Sheriff's Office.
And whenever you're serving at powwow, what does service as a reserve officer look like during that event?
Conducting any police duties, making your presence known, as well as any other direction that your supervision would give you, such as parking or dealing with incidents that may happen within the park.
Based on your knowledge and observations, how many reserve town marshals were active during powwow?
There was 6 to 8. I'm not 100% sure, but there was more than 6.
And were all of those marshals equipped with weaponry to be able to adequately respond to any safety-related issues that may have arisen at powwow?
No.
I'd like you to elaborate on that. What specifically, based on your observations, did they not have that may have been beneficial to them?
So we had several reserves that had just been brought on the department at that time, who had not completed the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy 40-hour pre-basic class, and were not certified to act in a legal capacity within the town of Palmyra. And within that legal capacity, that would require you to have a firearm, handcuffs, a badge, all of the police equipment in order to do your job. There were several, or I believe, I can accurately state that there were at least 2 individuals that had police identifying patches, vests on, handcuffs, however, firearms or badges.
And you had referenced your own training earlier when we were talking that completing the ILEA training was somewhat of a prerequisite to you beginning your employment as a reserve marshal, correct?
Correct.
Do you have any understanding of why these other reserve officers were allowed to be working as reserve officers on behalf of the town of Palmyra when they had not completed that mandatory training?
I'm not sure why they were operating in legal capacity at that point in time, identifying themselves as police officers. But I do understand that being a reserve, you are in more of a volunteer role. You have a Monday through Friday job or however your schedule is, so it's kind of hard to complete that training. I'm not sure why they had not completed that training.
And again, understanding that you guys have a Monday through Friday, this is kind of a mostly volunteer supplemental type of thing you do. Whose responsibility is it for ensuring that reserves have all of the necessary training that they need to be adequately equipped and making sure that they are able to legally meet the duties of serving as reserve officers?
That would be the town marshal.
Mr. Sims, I don't believe I have any further questions for you. Mr. Limmel may have some questions for you.
Yes, I do have some questions.
Can I ask you to step back and, I'm sorry, do you hear? That's fine. Thank you.
Oh, good.
First off, Mr. Sims, you stated that you marked the evidence you took from the vehicle on the November 24th traffic stop. You stated you marked that evidence.
I had placed that evidence in a bag, an evidence bag.
Did you mark it?
I did not.
You stated here a minute ago you had marked it. You had marked it for destruction.
I had stated that I had placed it in an evidence bag and contacted Captain Sean Short at that time, and he had been the one to place it on the desk.
You took the evidence, it was your responsibility to mark it.
I was unaware of the standard operating procedures at that point in time.
No, you were not, because you have been advised by me of that operating procedure anytime evidence was taken.
Okay.
Now, back to the traffic stop on November 30th.
Would that be in reference to how?
Yes,
Just to make sure that I'm on the same page.
yes. How come you did not activate your body cam prior to the stop?
Because it's a manually activated body cam, I had forgotten. Simple.
You forgot.
Yes.
Even though we didn't have enough body cams for everybody, I had quotes on my desk for body cams. I've been looking for grants for body cams, radios, uniforms, stuff like that. The policy was, and should still be, anytime you get out of the car, being those body cams are manually activated, you should activate it, even before you get out of the car. So how come you didn't? Didn't think about it.
I was unaware.
The rookie jitters, oh my God, I'm a police officer. Hey, I'm gonna make a traffic stop here.
Could be, I had a very short period of time as a law enforcement officer at that one time. It was a human mistake, I acknowledge.
After you completed your pre-basic class, you rode with me a couple of times. You rode with Officer Holly. I think you probably rode with one of the Short brothers also.
Yes, sir.
And you were wanting to be turned loose to patrol by yourself the entire time, correct? So we let you go by yourself, with somebody shadowing you.
Correct.
The one night you rode with me, you was wanting to stop everything that rolled down the street. The particular night with Mr. Howe, there was over 25 traffic stops made. And you were involved in a lot of them. I don't remember the exact numbers. I don't have that information currently. It's one thing that, you can't stop everybody. If it's a gross violation, by all means. Why were so many traffic stops made?
There were infractions committed on the roadway.
What was the evidence for those infractions?
I don't understand the question. There's a multitude of infractions. It could have been for speed.
Was it for speed, failure to stop at a stop sign, passing in a no passing zone?
There were no passing or no passing zones. There were several for speed and equipment violations.
Just, Dennis, are you opening this up that we can go back and review other cases? Is that what
At
you're
this point,
asking us
no, I'm
to do?
just dealing with the 3 cases that you have charged me with.
Okay, that's what I'm just asking, if you want us to go back and review other cases.
No, at this point, no. All right, I've got no further questions.
Very brief redirect, if I may. You were asked about whether or not you had manually activated the body camera. You indicated that it may have been a human mistake. Were you given any discipline or additional training because of not activating your body cam that night?
I was not.
Who would have been responsible for any discipline or additional training if they felt like that was necessary because of that?
Being as we had 2 people in official leadership capacities within the town, it would have been either Captain Sean Short or Marshal Dennis Longman.
And you were asked about wanting to be out riding solo with someone shadowing you after you completed your pre-basic. Who ultimately held responsibility for making the decision of when you were allowed to ride solo with an officer shadowing you?
Ultimately, it would be the decision of all of the officers that I rode with, and then the yes or no would ultimately come from the marshal.
No further questions? Dennis, unless you have any questions based off of the ones I just asked, I believe we are good to let Mr. Sims leave.
No, you're not.
I would ask to release Mr. Sims at this time.
Thank you.
Call Jack Trevilian.
As long as we tell the truth, all the truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
And Jack, once you get situated, please state your name for the record.
Jack Trevilian.
And Jack, what is your position in relation to the town of Palmyra?
I'm the clerk treasurer.
Okay, and how long have you held that position?
6 months.
And one minor procedural matter related to this particular proceeding. Normally, as the clerk treasurer, if the board, whether acting as the town board or as the safety board, were to have a tie, as the clerk treasurer, you would have the tie-breaking vote, correct?
Yes.
You understand that by being called to witness to testify tonight, that you would have to abstain from any vote in that instance, correct?
Understood.
So I want to talk to you briefly about your observations around town hall. As the clerk treasurer, do you regularly work in the Palmyra Town Hall?
Every Saturday, mostly nights. I've got a regular 9 to 5 job. But I do make a lot of trips up there for whenever they need checks written or whatever.
And does the clerk treasurer have designated space within town hall?
Yes, I have an office.
Are you familiar with where the town marshal's office is located?
It's right next to mine.
And in the time that you have been serving as clerk treasurer, have you had the opportunity to observe the town marshal coming and going from town hall?
Yes,
Have you had the opportunity to observe reserve marshals coming and going from town hall?
yes.
Have you seen instances where reserve marshals have brought evidence into town hall whenever Chief Wimmel was not present?
I have never seen that.
Have you seen any instances where evidence was left sitting out in town hall?
Yes.
If you could please describe when you have seen evidence left sitting accessible within town hall.
Whenever we questioned Dennis about some stuff that went on that week, Deborah was questioning about, what she heard. And Dennis said he doesn't know of any evidence. He didn't know of any. And then whenever we went into his office and looked, it was sitting on top of the safe. The evidence was just up there on the safe. It had been there for about a week, apparently, several days anyways.
So you personally observed sitting on top of the safe unsecured evidence that was had been submitted at some point to his office.
Yes, I did.
Were you aware specifically of what that evidence was?
I had no idea.
How did Chief Little respond upon seeing that evidence?
He said there wasn't any tags on it, and he didn't know how it got there, didn't know what it was. He'd have to call around.
How often was Chief Little at town hall?
Quite often. I mean, I see him there a lot. I mean, various times, 1 or 2 hours at a time.
Was it common for Chief Little to be at town hall at least once every day or two?
A couple times a week at least.
So if that evidence had in fact been there for a substantial period of time, based on your observations as clerk treasurer, would it have been likely that he should have discovered that evidence sitting on top of the safe and secured it prior to the date that you saw it sitting on?
I don't think he would have looked for it unless he was asked about it.
And again, it was sitting unsecured on top of a safe where anybody who could have accessed his office at any point in time would have been able to get that.
That's correct.
Is Chief Little's office ever left open at any point in time where he is not personally sitting in that office, to your knowledge?
Well, I've been there whenever deputies were in there doing training on the computer. So they were left in there by themselves while he was not there.
So there have been times where that office is accessible without Chief Little personally being present.
That is correct.
Possibility during those times that if somebody were to, could potentially get up, go to the bathroom, go to lunch, go to something like that, that door may be left open.
Could be.
Again, that's part of the reason we have an evidence safe, is to make sure that any contraband like that is properly secured to avoid even the risk of something like that, correct?
Correct.
Anything else you would like to state related to any observations you've had regarding any evidence or anything like that around town hall?
No.
No further questions?
Do you have any questions for me, Dennis?
Absolutely.
When you saw reserve officers in my office,
They was on a Saturday morning.
okay, they were doing what? Putting reports in?
No, they were on the computer taking courses,
Okay. Okay, doing training.
doing training.
Okay. Now, about the evidence left out on top of the safe, what drew your attention to that evidence?
You did, whenever you picked it up.
I
You
did
said this
not
doesn't have
pick
any
it
label on it.
And you're saying there was nothing, no markings on it as to?
Nothing.
Okay,
You didn't know what it was. You said you'd have to call around and find out what it was.
yes, that is correct. Okay. Okay, no further questions.
I have a question. Jack,
What?
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
When we walk in that office, to find the drugs on the safe? What questions was asked of Dennis about logs for evidence and for destruction?
I don't remember at that time having them questions asked, but it was, where did this come from? Why did it in the safe, and how do we dispose of them? You know, how do we get rid of it? Were questions that were asked at that time, yes.
Do you remember what Dennis's responses were?
He didn't really respond.
That's all I have.
No further witnesses at this time. I'll turn it over to Mr. Limmel for any witnesses he would like.
I've got no further witnesses to call. I do have a short statement.
And that's, yeah, closing argument, you get first word, I get.
Okay. Now, did I make some mistakes? Yeah, show me one person that hasn't made a mistake. No. My background's in firefighting, not police work, even though I've been a police officer for the past 20 years. You know, so I felt like I've done the best I could. Could I do better? Yeah, I can always do better. Everybody can always do better. No. I've never had 10 reserve officers before. Correct myself here. 9 reserve officers, 10 including myself. Some of them are trained, some are rookies. You know, it takes a while to learn stuff. Whether anything in public safety, it takes a while. It's a continuing education process. It goes with anything, not only public safety, any job, it's always a continuing learning process. And I'll guarantee you, everybody in any occupation, they've made mistakes. So, you know, I didn't make a mistake. I've admitted that all along. Do they rise to the level of being terminated? No. I think that I was going to be replaced anyway at some point in time. I knew that's going to happen. I think this is just the impetus for having to terminate. So, go ahead. All right. I have nothing else. That's the end of my closing statement, I guess.
Members of the board, members of the public, Mr. Olson. Town Marshal of Palmyra is an important job. I've spent probably 100 hours of the last month preparing for a murder trial in Floyd County. Thankfully, Town Marshal doesn't have to worry about that. But he's got a lot of public safety duties. Palmyra takes it seriously. They wouldn't have a Town Marshal if they didn't take it seriously. It's important to make sure that the Town Marshal is doing their job and owning their part of the public safety structure. It's important as a manager that they're getting reserve officers trained appropriately, they're supervising them appropriately. Because at the end of the day, whether it's Dennis, whether it's Josh, whether it's anybody else, they can't be here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They've got to make sure that the town is safe. Because when mistakes happen, even innocent mistakes, even good faith mistakes, the town is at risk. Now, we saw the video of what happened at the Hobbs stop. And thank God it ended the way it did. Because we've all seen plenty of other things that have happened where somebody with a gun got involved with a law enforcement officer and ended a whole lot different. Every single one of us has seen too much of that too often play out on the national news. And we don't need Palmyra on the news because of something like that. Having officers well trained Yes, it's understandable that our reserves have a 9 to 5. Yes, it's understandable that making the time for that is a big ask of them. But it's the ask you make if you're the town marshal. And it's your job as the town marshal to find the time and get them trained and make sure that these people get what their tax dollars are going for, which is getting that part of the law upheld appropriately. Nobody here, or at least I'm certainly not, I'm not saying Dennis is a bad man. I think Dennis is a great guy. I've known him for a few months and I've always found him to be a very nice guy, very respectable guy. This is an employment decision at the end of the day of whether or not the standard for the town marshal got met in these instances. And it's just a more likely than not burden. Reasonable minds could certainly disagree on this one, but more likely than not, did the burden get met? You got an incident where an officer is out, an officer that Marshal Wimmel had approved to be on solo duty with supervision and shadow. He stops someone, clearly clocked going 16 miles an hour over the speed limit, a very valid basis for a stop. They refuse lawful instructions. He calls his supervisor. He doesn't immediately escalate, he calls his supervisor. The man tells him, "I'm armed," while being somewhat hostile in tone. As was explained at the end of the video, and thank God again that it was peaceful tones by the end, but it's very understandable for an officer to want to make sure they get home safely to their family in that situation. And when a reserve officer, somebody who's volunteering for our town, does that, they're putting their life on the line for the town of Palmyra. They need to know that their marshal's going to have their back. They need to know they're putting their life on the line to get home to their wife and their kid at the end of the day, that their marshal is going to have their backs in that situation. That's the issue. Dennis is a good man. These situations didn't get handled.
So now we need to call for a vote to
Main entry.
either reemploy Dennis or uphold his firing. So would somebody like to make a vote to abstain or uphold his firing?
You know, when I get here,
Do
Or
we have any input on this?
you do not?
Oh, this is,
I thought you were supposed to be representing us.
yeah, we're the public. This is our town. That man just said it. It's our town.
Yeah, it is like that.
Well, I'm just saying, we ought to have some input. We didn't laugh. I mean, we got to talk.
I've already seen the evidence. Does anybody have any other questions? Any comments? And then I'll call for a vote.
Go ahead.
Everybody want to uphold?
No.
You make a motion to uphold his firing? Amy, do you have a vote?
I think, Dennis, I think you're a great guy. I literally got sick to my stomach watching the videos, especially the one, like, it is scary out there. It's very scary out there. What happened just a couple of years ago right down the road, I feel like could happen at any time again. And just knowing that kind of happened, it really makes me sick. Like, I like you, I think you're a great person, but to see that happen and just knowing that it could happen again just right here in town. Like, that was scary. That was scary for me, the whole McLean thing, just being right down the road. So I am more on the side of sticking with the decision that was made. Nothing personal against you. Just evidence to me speaks for itself.
Yeah, we did.
So, and I agree, I hold the line, so it's unanimous. This special meeting is adjourned.
Hey, Dennis, we're proud of you. What this for?